Make it make sense.
So it's Shia.
Jackson.
Am I saying what I'm saying? I feel like I'm saying that's
You gotta make it make sense, Jackson. You got to.
That makes sense.
Jackson. Jackson. Oh. Hey, good people.
The phrase this is
I see you moving.
Right after you
I need you proud.
This is with Brian.
I need you looking. I need you smile. Walking third.
So first, let's back up.
Walking third.
And that's the part right
Walking
there.
third.
Moratorium on new data centers so the city could study the impact on residents first. Study the water usage, electrical
Make
demand,
it
infrastructure training.
make sense, Jackson. You gotta make it make sense, Jackson. You got to. Jackson, Jackson. Oh. Hey, good people. I see you moving. I need you proud. I need you looking. I need you smile. Walking thirsty.
Welcome to Make It Make Sense, Jackson. I am your I'm your host.
He gonna get it. He gonna get that
Nah,
star.
man, I'm embarrassed now because I've been doing it now. Now I'm saying co-host again.
That's that humility in you that keeps wanting to include us. We in there. You leading now, and I'm coming behind you. You just got to use to that other position. That's all.
Well, I am your host, Keon Perry,
Yes,
aka KP, aka the Young Man, aka Keon Perry Jr., along with my co-host
Tariq Abdul Tawab.
the one and only Tar. Got to do it to why.
And listen, it's a duo. It's a duo, and there's some single things in here too.
Yeah,
you gotta
man.
deal with both of us and then us together. So
Yep,
it's a
yep.
wonderful thing.
And we got to, we never give shout. Well, we do get shout out, but early in the show, we got to give a shout out to our production. Wow, what's the word I'm looking for? Not production, but
Engineering, production.
yeah.
They wear 17 hats. I mean,
Yeah.
production. Give us some good conversation. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? What
very,
don't they
very
do?
smart people, man.
Yes,
You
sir.
never know who you might meet, and who they might know. In relation to Jackson, very small, so you might be related to him. So, but yeah, how we start out making make sense is that welcome to our 6th day.
Well, 6th show in 5 days. So every time the young man, Mr. Jackson, to my right, and I come on, we seem to be, jumping more hurdles, and you're involved with more first. As a young man of Jackson, to be the first African American on the show that's 5 days a week. The first Mississippian, I think, syndicated 5 days a week. I mean, you're talking about you're trumping a lot of these racist podcasters that run over to the Super Talk and like the former Nation of Islam, Clay. I'm not Clay. I'm sorry. Kim Wade. You're actually trumping a lot of people that look down on you as a young man and others in your generation, right? To call you all types of names. You now are sitting, and that's what I know rubs in people's face. That you don't ever mention clowns, and that's a beautiful thing. That it's part of our policy here. We don't do circus clowns. We don't mention you at all. We mention people that are relative, even if you're doing clown stuff, right? But the fact that this young man is now on air more than these clowns on Super Talk, these black men that don't understand who they are, that went inside of a group like the Nation of Islam and couldn't cut it. My father was in the fruit of Islam. I understand it, brother. They used to lock the door and say, we coming up with this money. And Kim Wade was like, I can't do this. They locking doors. The nation wasn't no job. I mean, I get it, brother. I know why Kim Wade ran from the nation and said, this Negro ran from the Nation of Islam to Super Talk and started talking bad about black people. And I know the fruit caught up with him and, and something happened. I know something happened, man. But anyways, this young man is now leading. I mean, there is no, there's some people have 3 days a week, have 2 hours in one. The fact that you're on show number 6 in 1 week is amazing. So I think Jacksonians need to especially clap it up just for this young man, but for the platform altogether. Because, what we do here is we try to help you make it make sense. And that's the part that has gotten a lot of folks riled up with us. And we have to keep talking about that because that's part of our job and duty together, right? It's a message that we have to protect as a community. Because consistently we are asked to stop bringing this message to you, to stop giving information to you. And that's the brute. And we don't want to talk about lost opportunities and those things because we all go through those things. You lose opportunities just based on the racism and oppression and the plantation democracy that's happening here with black leaders. So just because we may lose opportunities and our family is affected because we're fighting against it, we're all feeling the same pain, right? We just love the fact that we've turned it around and we're pushing against it now. as a community, right?
Mhm.
So that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
We're pushing against things that hurt us. And it was Ward 3's time before, as you're going to see when this show, and they stood up. They stood up no matter what pressure was on them, no matter how many dope dealers they were called. They stood up and they spoke. They showed up to city council. They pushed back against Councilman Stokes making moves that weren't better for the community. Now it's Ward 6's turn. It's Ward 5's turn. We're going to get into that as we talk about AI data centers. This is a very important show. I don't add followers, for every Friday show, but I add followers for this one because we're going to talk about what's happening. Why did Brian Grizzell shut the door temporarily on data centers, trying to at least get a grasp of what they would do to our community after Ridgeland is crying now? The residents like, well, we don't like the way this is going. We want to put regulations up right up the street from us, right? And then Grizzell says, well, let the president, he said, I'm going to act like the president. The same way we talk about someone, if you don't control Stokes' mouth, we're going to clap when you lead like a president and say, stop, this isn't good for my city. We need to know what's happening. Because we see our neighbors in Ridgeland crying about the data centers. And he didn't even say we can't have them. The man simply said, what, KP?
With the moratorium?
Yeah, the moratorium. And when people say he did not say we couldn't have him.
Was it 100 and some days for the moratorium?
Yeah.
So he was basically saying that why should we have them?
Yeah, but even looking at it, we're reading, we like to be exact here, but what was he saying that he wanted to study before we let this in?
Yeah, the water usage, electrical demand, zoning, infrastructure strain, and the long-term effects of the city.
This is what the moratorium that Brian Grizzell was putting on data centers coming in here.
Mm-hmm.
This is what that moratorium was doing. So I think before we launch into it, and we're already into it, huh? This is the type of leadership that we need from the city. And I think that when you see it from someone in their 20s, but we don't see it from our leaders in the city, because I bring you information. Let's just be real. I mean, I bring you information and people get furious about it because it's information that comes from experience, from family here, from living the experience, and from talking to our people and helping our people and having conversations that don't come from interviews, right? Conversations that come from building community together. And so today we've got to talk about what happened in city council. Why is it that our city is plunging towards being used as the stomping ground for Mississippi, as the place where you can't put anything else, you can put it there? They've got one, and we're talking data centers today. We're talking data centers, and the phrase right there you see above us, and this is what we're going to get into. The public sees who did it. This is how that's it, and this is why this is very important. Please forward this one, tag somebody into it if they're not there. Anyone you know who cares about data centers coming to their city, you'd want to tag into us, because the one thing we're going to do, you can hate us, you don't like the way I sound, turn it down a little bit, I get it. But the information that you're going to get is going to help you understand what's happening. And when Brian Grizzell, the president of the city council, says to, let's talk about who he was talking to, LaShia Thomas Brown, Vernon Hartley, Kevin Parkinson, I don't think Kevin cared, and Ashby Foote, I don't think, we know Ashby didn't care. And Kevin at least is going to look like he cared, but he didn't. That pain looked like he has to use the bathroom, right? But he said to those four, the city knows what you did. You can't let that type of comment pass from the president of the city council, meaning he's sitting in all of those closed sessions. He's sitting in all of the conversations you don't see. And his comment is not, we need to reevaluate this as a council, but the public sees who did it. So that's the title of today's show. The public saw who did it. But the reason he said sees, please understand, is because this is a motion in action. It's something that you could stop. That's why he's telling you the public sees you.
Yeah, and I don't think I was there for that one. You was there for that meeting.
I was.
Yeah. I had to do some babysitting.
As much as people think that I always bump into something, I went to pick somebody up from the meeting. I didn't even have time because I was going to grab much. I happened to bump into it. I said, let me stay.
Yeah. See,
let me stay.
We do pop-ups for real.
Yes, sir.
But remember, I remember it was the day of, I was like, I think it's a city council meeting today. They was trying to hire
you had it in your nose and you knew it. You knew that there was a council meeting today. And I don't think that I was well aware of it, but that's the way God works. You know, and we don't keep that out of it. That's the way God works, you know. And I'm just so serious. I mean, God is going to bring you the things that you don't see on your own sometimes if you're doing the right thing. And I think that, you said that there was a meeting. We couldn't find it necessarily. That could have been because we were rushing and doing other things. I'm not saying they didn't post it, but we couldn't find it. And then boom, I go into City Hall to pick somebody up, and I'm like, oh, this is interesting. It's a City Hall meeting. I missed it. Sat down, and then I got to see the exchange happen. And then I realized they're trying to secretly, so when I say secretly, understand, they're trying to do it without fanfare, okay? Table this ordinance. So let's go back to where this starts. We're talking data centers. We know 10 data centers are coming to Mississippi. We know 10 miles from from Tougaloo, you've got Amazon centers coming. You see rumors about it everywhere, right? So how did that affect us here? So when all of that started moving, you have Gabriel Prado, who is Mayor John Horn's transitional team member. He started talking about bringing an AI data center, right? And at about that same time, Brian Grizzell seemed to wake up, and I would like to think the young man and I had a lot to do with that. You're welcome, Brian. Because we're here for everybody. We love everybody. We point out what our family does so we can get better as a family, just how we point out what we do, and you've done that. Yeah. Some of you new viewers haven't, but our old viewers know we stay in correction like we like to correct and inform. So Mr. Grizzell understood, okay, we've got a serious problem here because this isn't business being planned for Jackson. This is John Horn and his entrepreneurial team pushing through. And now we've got Black city council members that somehow, and this is what happens when the community be like, oh, check their bank accounts. I agree with that statement completely. Don't accuse them of something you can't prove. But when you say check LaShia Brown Thomas's bank account, when you say check Vernon Hartley's bank account to me, you want me to talk about it, man, say check their accounts. I'll say it. I agree with you. There should be some type of basic transparency when you make a move that's so far to the left. You've got judges that can vacate an order because they deem it's inappropriate, meaning the jury says, I find you guilty. And the judge can actually say in some circumstances, you all made a bad decision based on the evidence that was there. So I'm going to nullify that verdict, right? So at a certain point, we've got to be able to say, you two are actually doing exactly what we don't want you to do.
We would be the jury.
Yes. Yeah. We would be, sometimes I get deep in them analogies and get lost. But you are doing exactly what we don't want you to do. So Brian Grizzell attempts to and let's see, let me take a look at what slide that is, guys, and I apologize. I try to make sure, and the young man and I try to make sure, because he puts a lot of this together, but that we have the newspaper article that goes along with it. And the reason for that is just so that you understand. So this one is talking about where they initially started to plan the moratorium. I think this is our screenshot number two, or slide number 2. So this slide is going to look at when they initially, and we can keep both of those up. Perfect. These guys are amazing. So this is where it starts, right? But let's back up a moment. Can we back up, my brother? Can we go to the Prado slide just so we can see why we're either talking about that, and that is going to be my man. So first this happens. So you look at dates on things, pull up the article. So we see the Jackson developer. And so when we're talking about Gabriel Prado, first pause there and let's talk about why there's such a push here. So we've taken you through the rest. We're not going to waste time going back through it because we need to talk about this data center. But Gabriel Prado came back into Jackson. He went to Belhaven. He came back into Jackson after being in Ridgeland, working throughout the state, bringing Topgolf that we thought was coming to Jackson. It was going to bring 200 jobs to Jackson. He bought that to Ridgeland. And so he found his way into Jackson through Mayor Horn. He was a member of Mayor John Horn's entrepreneurial transition team, right? So after Prado Lofts, which we often say is the crook of gentrification of Jackson, which is being built on State Street in Meadowbrook, after his younger brother, Daniel Prado, began to buy out all of the gas stations in our areas, as they've done throughout parts of Mississippi, and then began to list those gas stations and code them, as they're still coded now on the Secretary of State's website, as grocery stores, non-convenience stores, right? They took over 50, God knows how many of those, right? Then the hotel started to be bought up. There was a hotel bought up down at the bottom near Target. Now we hear that the hotel on the other side of Old County Line is being bought up by Gabriel Prado, right? Then we see this above. Prado's AI seeks approval for private AI infrastructure in Mississippi. Well, you may want to guess where that may go. At this point, we can just make it make sense. At this point, we can just guess that this is what you came for, Prado. And this is just common sense talking. We're going to move on. So this was the big dig. The gas stations being taken over and all those things were just setting an infrastructure to what uses 35 million gallons of water a day and brings in a lot of money into the state. Governor Tate is just on a run of you should even look in Mississippi today. They have cartoons of Governor Tate. If you want to get a school open, put a data center sign on it and he'll open it, right? So the data centers are coming. But if Prado's doing it, everything else he's done has been here in Jackson, right? And Mayor Horn has been right there by his side, shoveling dirt at his establishments, throwing it in the air and cheering for the things that are going to push out a lot of Jacksonians. So this is what starts happening. Brian was, and we're pushing it. The young man and I are slamming this to the head. We're pulling up everything. Folks are tagging the city council. So we're making it all clear to them, right? So then let's jump over. Brian Grizzell takes a smell of salt, and we appreciate that, brother. Comes back to life, right, Bob? bob that head, and we both got nice sized bald heads, right? That head bobbled back up, and jump to the next screen if you can, my brother, slide 2, and then actually says, listen, we've got a problem, right? The problem is these data centers are going to be an issue if we don't have some level of control over them. So this is what he does. Kudos to Brian Grizzell. He says, let's put at least a 183-day pause. What's that, 6 months?
No, that's me.
Yeah, that's 6 months, 3 and 18. I'm not grading everything. No. So yes, yep, that's 6 months.
6 months.
That's 6 months. We don't punch down because I can't. I'm down there with some people. Water, sewer, and electrical strain concerns, land use compatibility, and avoid environmental burdens. Let's stop and let's just talk about this. We're not going to go deep into some speech to you about data centers. You see it popping up on your feed every day. The environmental concerns, data centers being built in places that are now looking at as a new cancer alleys and old cancer alleys, then would create rules and framework for future data center development. We don't know how far this could go. And the key thing is, Ridgeland is crying right now about the regulations they didn't put in place. So all Grizzell says is, let's put a pause on this and make sure it's right for Jackson. Let's just sit on that. What do you think about that, young man? Let's just because I want to be clear what Lashia and Hartley are doing. It's pure betrayal.
Well, you also must mention that, who wasn't there for this meeting.
Oh, Stokes. This is ridiculous.
You told me, you said if it was a 3 against a 4, they would have had the power.
Absolutely. If it was 3 against 3, well, if it was 3 against, because you had a vote that went 4-2. So Stokes essentially just didn't show up, didn't call in. There's other ways to vote. I've seen voting happen when they're coming in on a video camera. And obviously, we always leave space for any of our community members to be ill or low in health. And if that's the case, then that's the case, right? You got to accept that. Yeah. But it's the boy that called wolf with Kenneth Stokes. It's got to be that at best. And that's me giving you the benefit of the doubt, brother. The boy that called wolf. You done did it so many times, but you didn't show up on a difficult vote. We can't give you the benefit of the doubt.
So now you know what he's going to do. He's going to hold a press conference somewhere. Well, I didn't know that they was going to do this. I don't even know what's going on.
When a 20-something-year-old
started saying the same bullshit he used for that 30-day 12 rate hike for the water case.
The same thing.
Y'all have got to smell what he's cooking, like The Rock.
The Rock.
Come on, man.
Yeah, we got to turn The Rock on these folks.
And more than likely, he was for it. That's probably why he wasn't there. I'm just saying, why you ain't there then?
So I can tell you what, we know it is. So I could say that I couldn't make it, but I would have never voted for that. Yeah. I would have voted against it. So I could have, would have thing. And yesterday's price and today's price. So we're not worried about you. People have picked up on that. The action has to match to the young man's point, has to match the reality. That's what it has to do. So these are the things that we're asking for the moratorium to be put on, right? And let me see. So let's take a look. And I don't want to, we'll go past it. And I don't think that's it.
And also, for Grizzell to even have this conscience to be like, we need a 183 day moratorium for the data centers. It's like, if y'all care much about the data centers not being in Jackson, what's up with this water, this lease for this water, man? I mean, reject the lease. You know what I'm saying? It's hard for me to understand 1 and 2. Like, if you care this much about the water, 35 million gallons of water being used a day. Okay, before we even had the data centers proposed, we had the water being messed up. So why are you now saying all of a sudden you want to step on one fire, but your feet is not on the other fire? You need to be stomping both fires out. Like, okay, I care much about you know what I'm saying? I mean,
yep. This is exactly. I mean, the facts, and see, it's facts mixed with the emotions of the facts, right? But when you're talking, I'm just pointing to the screen. You're not. What you're talking matches all of the concerns.
They also pull up a massive amount of experience serious grid strain, higher power costs because of AI structure.
Pause right there, right? So we've had how many energy-related explosions in this city?
To keep stamps where you at.
We've had how many energy-related explosions? So now you're talking about, man, there were rumors about new energy places being built, and people are jumping online. Are they being built? But they pull massive amounts of electricity. So we're talking about researchers are warning certain regions could experience serious grid stress and higher power. You want to do this in Jackson with 100,000 plus 130?
In Jackson.
What is going on? So look, communities that is hitting Ridgeland, a lot of them are saying these projects are not bringing meaningful and economic development. So let's pause there. So Brian Grizzell is trying to defend putting a moratorium on it, right? So he's saying we're not anti-development business, but who's getting developed? So when these AI data centers come, you have to be smart enough to understand something that runs itself. Don't need but so many of you to run it. So many of us to run it. I'm not the high level. What it would need is 40 to 130 high-level engineering technicians a level I'm never going to get to because I can't study it for 14, 13 years.
So I took coding classes, right?
Yeah.
AI
I was
requires.
just about to say.
Y'all
That's crazy. I was
y'all
just about to
y'all wouldn't
say
think
the young
a person
man may
me-
make it there.
Yeah, you might want. You wouldn't even think I took coding class. I understand. I got
That's
a
the
smart
problem,
family.
man.
I understand that.
Don't tell them to surprise them.
But yeah, the process of coding, it takes a very, very, very concentrated time to come up with all those codes and those things.
Especially chips like
Yeah,
this.
yeah. So, and they also, it's a certain chip that they use. That's, I forgot what they take. I forgot exactly where they got it from, but it's a chip that they use that it's called RAM, and they buy a lot of it, and it's taking out, it's using up a lot of money for AI. And in order for them engineers to even process that type of stuff, it takes a long time, and it uses up a lot of money. It uses up a lot of electricity. You get basic stuff. It uses up a lot of water for something we can just do ourselves without even depending on AI.
By rejecting the lease. I'm sorry.
No, that's the perfect example. You taking all this. Basically, what I'm saying is you taking all this time up to build something to be lazy. When we could just like they used to say back then when y'all used to say, a computer is not smarter than a human being.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying?
And so yes, there's no but. I just, and you have to excuse me because it's when you transition with folks, the beautiful thing is when you start putting those things together, and I've been saying this for a while, you've been putting this stuff together, but it never gets better because the win is already here in Jackson. And that's why some people may say, well, why does your spirit stay up? And people actually ask me this. I mean, the things that you're learning, what are you seeing? What are you seeing? We know that our politicians aren't telling us what they're seeing. And I respect you all for having these conversations with me. What are you seeing, Tariq, that makes you smile and jump on there? And you and the young man, what is he seeing? What are you all seeing? We're seeing people wake up and we're realizing that if all of this goes through, and we don't want it to go through, but if everything up to this point went through, and we stand up now and start using intelligent, political, educational steps, that's all we're talking about. That's the revolution, right? Then we can move to a different place. And that's what I sit up and smile at, because as long as you can link together these things that are happening, then I think that we're in a place where we can't, you can't trick us. So when you say AI centers are bringing all these jobs, which is what people say, right? You're talking about a burst of construction jobs. That's what we're talking about. This is being intelligent. Stop letting somebody bait us with the bully, pastimes, giving up cash to the leaders, knowing damn well they're not going to feed us. We're not getting anything out of this except some menial labor jobs for a few months, so Mayor Horn can look like he stimulated the Jackson economy, and he hasn't. And when those jobs leave, now those people, they've adapted a different way of life that can't be sustained because no other incremental progress has been brought to our neighborhood, South Jackson and West Jackson, just in places that the downtown Jackson partner controls somehow. The same downtown Jackson partner that, as you watched on our page, if you haven't, go to our page and stop, because you're not going to be able to tell your grandchildren you didn't know that Dale Danks bought the Blue Ribbon Committee, which turned into CCI, which turned into Downtown Jackson Partners. When your grandchildren ask you, well, Mom and Daddy, why did Miss Sister Hurricane from the who was the executive secretary for the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, why did she fight against this? And why did John Horn, why did Harvey Johnson go up against Henry Kursky, a powerful black man? What's going on? You're not going to be able to tell them, I don't know why they did that. They're going to say, hold on, Grandma. Hold on, Auntie. But there's this show right here called Make It Make Sense Jackson. And the young man, he's still there. I don't know how long I'm alive. The young man's still there, right? And he said right there, he told y'all. And you just, so I'm going that far, look at that. So when you go through all those steps, you understand that when you get to this point, where we're being offered a few construction jobs to build the future of the real Jackson, which doesn't include South and West Jackson in any way, shape, or form. And let's merge to it. And then two of our own are making it possible. Not even a break, and it was like a break time. Two of our own are making it possible. And that's the part that we need to look at. So the next article we'll look at, I believe this is number 3, where we started with President Brian Grizzell saying the community sees who did this. And what he should have said is the community sees who's doing this, because LaShia Brown Thomas and Vernon Hartley can both do the right thing by their people and go ahead and say, I withdraw this request to table the ordinance. So right to your right, you see the public sees who did it. I want you to look at that first. And I love how you did that, because I separated that for a reason. When the president of your city council says this, I don't care what you felt about what he didn't do before. We spoke about it. If you don't listen to the firefighter saying there's a fire in there, listen to his experience and being able to tell you there's a fire, you better go look. So in this article associated with this, the public sees who did it. You see right there, let's jump to that article right there with it. LaShia Brown Thomas and Kevin Parkinson tabled, and I wish I had played that. I sent you a screenshot. That's on me. Tabled the moratorium. We just went over it, right? And a young man just read it to you. What was the moratorium? Let's go right back to it.
183 days.
And what was that 183 days? What was Brian Gazelle wanted the city to study for us in that time before we got a data center?
Water usage, electrical demand, zoning, infrastructure strain, and long-term effects on the city.
And now, out of nowhere, you have LaShia Brown Thomas decides to table the ordinance and giving a weak reason that the lawyer, the same woman, the Caucasian lawyer, and I'll pull her up because we have a name on there, from the city of Jackson. I say that for awareness. So if you know the name, you can plug in, not for the racial implication. But the long-haired, I always love to describe people by their hair. The long hair, I think, is light hair or gray hair. And she suggested that we do this. The city council. Remember, the city council was asking for their own lawyers? Here goes that old Mississippi shuffle.
The one is always whispering in Parkinson's ear. No, the one Parkinson always whispering in her ear.
Thanks, Dave. Jackson city leaders are now pumping the brakes on an item that would have temporarily banned data centers. At a city council meeting, some of you expressed your concerns about the potential development. Green Your Side's Chris Fields was there listening in. Chris.
Maggie, so the data center halt was back on the agenda tonight, but some council members voted to table the item, saying they need more information before they could vote.
All in favor of tabling.
Watch these hands. Watch these hands.
Opposed.
Council members voting to table item number
opposed.
11 at Tuesday city council meeting.
All right, thank you. The public sees who did it.
The public
The
sees who did
moratorium
it.
would temporarily pause approval.
The public sees who did it. Right, leave that right there. But I wish we could go right there. Blow that right back up. Let's talk about it right there, because we could see Mr. If we could blow that up, I wish we could scroll the screen up so we could see Miss Brown Thomas and Hartley sitting right next to each other. All right, that's good enough. So these, you saw the vote, and he's going to try to get us back to that vote where you can see them hands. If he doesn't, it's fine. But if he does, it'll be amazing. But this is what happened. So again, as the young man said, Brian Gazelle says, let's hold on. I love it. It is not funny, but I love it. There's nothing funny about that. But this is how easy it is to catch folks. And you don't notice how Foot's hand is outstretched so you can be sure of his vote. Look at how Parkinson's hand is outstretched. This is symbolic. This is not just us being paid. You've got to understand how this politics works. Look at how Miss Brown Thomas's hand is down by her shoulder and Hartley's hand is at the same place near their head, not outstretched to be, they're ashamed of their vote. It stinks of let me see your bank account from a shock jock. What else are we going to say as radio hosts? What you expect from us? We say what the people say. What the hell is making you all? And look at Parkinson is proud of it. Remember when I told you that Virgie Lindsay and Kevin Parkinson and whoever sits in that seventh seat, their job is to look friendly, seem liberal, and to back the most destructive policies against Black Jackson that are there. And Virgie helped separate not only half of the city with Belhaven and Fondren, going into business improvement districts, and said, well, those Jackson people want to put a tax on themselves. Well, hey, Belhaven and Fondren, let's put a 70+% tax on ourselves so we can move away from those Negroes. The joke's on them. And they did it. And they did it. And then she shut down Costco's that would have bought 1,000 jobs. Her and Crudup, Bishop Crudup together. I mean, it's the two different ways they came. Bishop Crudup wasn't talking to her. He said, I was buying New Horizon before this opportunity came, and I don't care how much Jackson can rise off it. I'm keeping my church with my sign up on it. I don't care if we can fix the potholes. I don't care if the people in my congregation could have gotten better off of this. This is what they did. Same way Harvey Johnson ran against Henry Kursky. You want to know how we got here so you don't have to stay here, but you don't want to take the pain of listening who did it. But now we see it right in front of us. Even with the shame of their hands by their, screenshot this, please, if you're watching. The shame of their hands by their shoulders. And listen, Miss Brown Thomas introduced this. Kevin Parkinson is always whispering in her ear. You just said that. And what do we see every time we go to KP? What do we see every time we go to a city council meeting?
Always whispering in the ear. I want to know what y'all talking about. We know what you're talking about now.
Now we know what you were talking about. So she introduces it. Who is she in terms? When I say who is she, she's a law enforcement officer, longtime South Jackson. I'm saying, who is she? What are you connected to that you're making no black community, no community in Mississippi is welcoming data centers? So we have a black majority, and we'll move from this. We have a black majority on the city council. So let's just make this statement. If you wonder why a black city can't get right, Detroit, I see folks in California to jump on our page all the time and ask the questions. Wonderful. If you wonder why Jackson can't get right, we're going to do a quick recap on the second side of this break, and we're going to walk down exactly why we can't get right. So moving forward, we can. See you in a moment. I need the breaks. Yeah. All right.
Have you had your Earthblend coffee today? At Earthblend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted. Have you had your Earthblend coffee today? At Earthblend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earthblend Coffee. To order, visit earthblendcoffee.co now. Have you had your Earthblend coffee today? At Earthblend Have you had your Earthblend coffee today? At Earthblend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earthblend Coffee. To order, visit earthblendcoffee.co now.
Welcome back to the longest on air show. No, to our fifth day here at Make It Make Sense, Jackson. I'm your honored and humbled host, Tariq Abdul Tawwab, in actuality, along with my superstar co-host,
Keandon Perry,
aka KP, aka Keandon Perry Jr., aka Mr. Jackson.
I
So he's gonna take it. He's gonna take. I give him the nicknames I give him, right? The KP, that's clearly his name, but the nickname, the yummy, that I give him.
You also got to remember, man. In 6 days, we could do like 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, whatever. You got to remember that we only have a little bit of memory left sometimes.
That's right. That's right. Listen. You know, and I know to folks, and I hope folks understand that when you do 6 shows in 1 week, when you do 5 shows in 1 week, it's draining, but it also takes meticulous preparation. Yes. Because though you may see emotion on here, you got to understand these shows are vetted. We've got Super Talk that jumps on our show and watches us, WLBT, WAPT, because we call all these folks out as well, not necessarily, but we call them out. At WLBT, I'm hoping that eventually they get back towards being reprimanded for such imbalanced reporting. That they're no longer able to just continuously report that way. And what brings the latest scenario to mind is when there was the rally where you had 30 groups, NAACP being one of them, right? Jackson's People's Assembly, a lot more groups were included in there. There's 30 of them. We put it on the site where they put on a march and a rally, and you had every national and every other organization saying that, you know, it had over 1,000 people at the march. You had the local people were saying hundreds of people attended. This is what your local newspaper was saying. You would wonder how are you always on the same course as all the national reporting until it comes to trying to demean something that black folks are doing in Jackson. But WLBT knows when the shootings happen. I promise you, I say sometimes jokingly, I wonder if they're doing some of this shooting, how quick they get there. First off, they go in areas I wouldn't get it. They right there with the shoot. Pow! They're like, hey, he just shot him. How did you know about it, WLBT? Did somebody call you? So, you know, let me just bring us back to where we were. we were talking about the AI data centers. We were talking about us being at a very disturbing place. City Council President Brian Grizzell aimed his anger and frustration, rightfully so in this case, at his fellow council members. And I believe he was talking to the African-American council members, Vernon Hartley and LaShia Brown Thomas. Let's say it again. What did he say?
The people see who did
The
it.
people see who did it. That's what he aimed at them live, and that's what the top of the paper said. And what he was talking about was the fact that he tried to put an ordinance into place to block a moratorium, to temporarily block data centers from coming here in Jackson. One of the reasons of concern, right, before we talk about what happened in that hearing, one of the reasons of concern is that we already know about 10 data centers are making their way to Mississippi. And we know that John Horn's entrepreneurial buddy or team member, Gabriel Prado, has already discussed or is trying to bring an AI data center to Mississippi. One could assume when we start to make it make sense that there's a chance that that could come to Jackson, since everything else he's doing that's beneficial seems to be coming in Jackson. We're talking about Gabriel Prado. Prado Lofts, every gas station that we see is being turned into a supermarket called Don Gabriel. You code it that way, not us. So we're going to call it supermarkets from now on. So everywhere you see Don Gabriel supermarkets, I know you're saying to us, that's not a supermarket, that's a gas station. That's not what it says on Michael Watson's Secretary of State business website. It said it's coded as a grocery store, non-convenience stores that has fresh deli, fresh meat, and produce. So I want one of you all to jump on our page and tell me that you have or haven't. We should have at least 80 people commenting. Just say you have or haven't seen fresh produce, fresh meat, and deli at any of the Don Gabriel stores. And if you haven't, then they're lying. And I know they are, because we've gone in every store. Unless they put it there yesterday, they weren't there the day before. So we saw Gabriel Prado, which threatened us because we're saying everything else is happening in Jackson with him. So if he wants to bring a data center, where do we think he's bringing it? Jackson. So Brian Grizzell goes ahead and says, well, let me go ahead and let me put that into place. Now, during this, some interesting things happen, right? So during the hearing where LaShia says, let's table so once you table it, what does that mean, KP? Tell them what that means. Once you table the moratorium means what? It's a
push.
It's a stop. Yeah, it's a stop, push. But it's a temporary stop. No data center can come now. So LaShia says, well, we're concerned that there may be zoning changes in here and that may require a 15-day period to let the public speak about it. To let the public speak about Brian Grizzell trying to protect us and study what it would do to us. So Tina Clay says, well, why can't we just put the policy in place, LaShia? Why can't we just put the policy that says no new data centers for 183 days and not put any zoning ordinances in place? That's not what they wanted. Parkinson said, well, IFA, as soon as she said that, LaShia's backup came in. You've got to go look at this exchange for yourself. We can put it up on the screen. We can show you that at a certain point, you got to go look at it. We'll explain it, break it down. Now go look at it. So LaShia talks, Batman and Robin's happening. Robin spoke. I want to take that ordinance that he put on off. This is LaShia says it. These Negroes don't need no protection. Let the data center come. That's what she said. If nothing else, it gives the chance of it coming. And Prado already is ready, poised. Who else can I point at that close to Jackson? He's not the only one bringing data centers, but we're not stupid. We might have been born yesterday, but we stayed up all night. Who else? He's gotten everything he's wanted from John Horn's administration team. $1.25 million tax incentive for Prado Lofts, charging $2,800 and is bound to go up. Don Gabriel store out of the world at these stores, the product that people were paying $2, $3 less for the day before when it wasn't under his name. Went to Belhaven, hung around with the Maggie Wade and the high boy crew. Yeah, people know him. This is happening right in front of us. He used to fly around with Hoseman and look out the window. That was his best time, he said, when he used to fly around with Hoseman and look at properties and opportunities internationally for the government of Mississippi. And you know, little sidebars happen when I think of someone like this, right? Like Gabriel Prado. You say, well, you know what are you helping Mississippi with? What are you helping the state of Mississippi with that you just get everything you want? You've been building up Ridgeland. You've been doing business deals in Madison, and they let you do anything that you want. You're the golden boy for the state anywhere you go, but no one's connected to you. The golden boy doing the dirty work. Where that $100 million from Brett Favre and Nancy Newish? Where that money? How do you launder money when you withhold it from black people in Mississippi?
It's almost like you taking that money from somebody.
Yeah, it just makes you question.
Yeah.
How do you just, I mean, this is a sidebar. How, if Mississippi is withholding and stealing money, so Nancy knew the whole situation is 100 million missing. Jody was the one that held him accountable, so we know why they wanted him so bad. He just gave him a reason, right? Now we got him out of here, that 100 million disappears. But how do you reuse that 100 million if the Democrats are watching it regularly? How do you wash money if you're holding it back from the black people in the community? That's a conversation that Alcorn needs to have. You ain't gonna keep putting that on us. I didn't take 20 years of political leadership and political study. I didn't sit there and watch 4 and 5 different governors come and go in Mississippi. I didn't sit at Valley State. I didn't sit at Tougaloo. I didn't sit at Jackson State and watch all of these things. We redirect here. We don't claim we know it all. So where are these professionals to tell us what's really happening here? Where's all of these things connecting at? Well, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna tell you where this seems to connect at right now. So when LaShia takes the lead, Robin, go get him, girl. And that's how we're going to treat you, because you're doing something that's hurting us. And that's why the president said that the community sees you, LaShia. We're going to talk about who else sees Vernon Hartley. We see you. So let's talk about what else happened. So attorney Robert Island, does that name ring a bell, Jackson? Know who runs your city. Had you watched the Young Man series, Gatekeepers, who's running Jackson, that we put out almost a year ago, you would know that some of these people are on transitional teams. So Robert Island is on Mayor, even though he closed the team, he was on Mayor John Horn's housing task team that he put together. And he was a lawyer, specializes in housing and other things, making money off of it as well, but he's a lawyer for that. John Horn put him on the housing task team when Blossom happened. So he was brought into the city supposedly to help the residents that were getting kicked out of that Blossom apartment that had done nothing wrong, ensure this type of thing didn't continue, amongst other things, right? Just want to tell you who he was. Now we'll talk about what he did. So we're at the meeting where LaShia says, these Negroes don't need no protection. Take that protection off the table, Gazelle. Kevin told me to do it. I don't know why. I don't ever speak to any meeting. He whispers what to do. That's the way it seems. Stop whispering in her ear before she does something. Stop connecting everything you two do together. And if you're doing something else together, then tell us, because at least we can understand. It's a different type of party. Well, then maybe we wouldn't put that on you all.
You know, Kevin Parkinson is also a part of Downtown Jackson Partners.
Mayor John Horn is at the middle of everything that's happening to Jackson. Robert Island on Mayor John Horn's street, he steps into the city council meeting and says, stop. What does he say? He said, I'm representing a client that's looking to put an AI center here in Jackson. They said, who is it? Robert said, I can't tell you.
Harvard Klein.
I can't tell you. Now let's pause. Let's just talk about what we can say. We can say Gabriel Prado is trying to bring an AI center, data center. We can say that both of them are part of John Horn's inner circle. So at least we know they're around each other, drinking, toasting, whatever they're doing. Because Gabriel Prado's was part of his entrepreneurial transition team. At the same time, Robert Island is part of John Horn's housing task team. I wish you would listen to us and try to brush us off as people talking about somebody. We give it articles, facts, and when they come together, it is what it is. So now, Robert Island, a member of his housing task team, steps forward and said, this secret person, I can't tell you, Gabriel, get away from me. I can't tell you who is about to bring a data center here. I won't tell you his name because I don't have to. But what did he say specifically? He said, there's a finite window of opportunity. I might be fine that. He means there's an immediate window of opportunity while the major data center users are still making decisions. People like Gabriel Prado, at least, they want to bring data centers. We've got 9 other ones, so there's other ones. Gabriel just happens to be in close proximity, getting everything he wants from Mayor Horn to build up here, and he wants to bring an AI data center. We're going to keep saying it. This is radio. That's what we're here for. Podcasts are here to look at the in-between lines, right? So he says, these big investment decisions, he's talking about Jackson. This is Robert Island. These big investment decisions are being made right now, and many, many millions of dollars have already been committed. So that's why you sent businessman after businessman after businessman to try to come to us and say, please stop talking about Gabriel Prado and these data centers. We are not going to let you do this in the lower room. That's the upper room where you get that silence. That's why you pressured us so heavily to stop talking. Can you stop talking for 30 days? You got 3, 4, 5 different people that you could get to with that much money to sway people to say, but that's why, because you know that you got a secret client that wants to do a data center, and Brian Grizel's put in a moratorium on there, so you want to rush it through. But this is how it happens. This is why we say Django style. Stephen from Django, LaShia and Hartley, that's who you all are playing. Brother and sister, you could stop right now. They haven't voted on removing it. You could bring this back up, LaShia, and you could say, and this is why we say Ward you lifted the block on them data centers coming? And when she tried, oh, we're concerned about ordinances, well, why wouldn't you just put a block on them coming without putting any zoning ordinance in? So we just want the block on it coming so we can figure out how it's going to affect us. Those are the 2 bits of conversations you need to have with her. And with Hartley, it needs to be a heavier conversation because Vernon Hartley has ducked his ward. The poor people he did not want that came into his ward from this last redistricting.
You know what's annoying me? He came to that goddamn water meeting. And
he came to the water meeting. It's called shameless.
Didn't tell y'all nothing, man.
It's almost like when someone kills somebody, then comes to the scene of the crime and watches to see what's happening.
Parkinson was there too.
Parkinson was at the meeting.
Was there too.
But this is why the newspapers, and we blame this on the newspapers. I always give my brothers and sisters the benefit of the doubt until proven otherwise, where the intent comes from. But this is why the newspapers seem happy to not mention the same organization that put that meeting forward. So Jackson's People's Assembly, you see Brooke Floyd up there in front of him. She was the same one at the march. So they threw the meeting at United Methodist. The same Jackson's People's Assembly that were leading that march the other day, that WLT and WAPT made believe it was all NAACP and Benny Thompson. You see the hijacking, how it happens? So you got a People's Assembly that grew from grassroots. We know where it grew from because Kim Wade and them like to say, you free the land people, you Negroes need to give up the land, right? Now all of a sudden, free that land means something different as John Horn gives it away, don't it, y'all? Free the land means something different. I don't hear people saying that, but you want to free some of that land that's leaving you. You want to free that water authority, free that airport land, free them schools, Chastain, everything being bought up. But this is how things merge into that. And then let's not get off. So the reason we say Django, so LaShia says, let's enter this. Now, remember how she got in office. This is what we got to start looking at because now we know a tale of 2 cities, right? Now we know that how Harvey Johnson got in office wasn't just because, and then everything he did for the white power establishment because that's who helped get him in there. Now we know we've got to look at it from that lens. So let's switch lenses. We got into this situation by Senator John Horn in 1996, Charlie's son, because Who Raised You is in effect. That's the series of this whole week, hasn't it been? If we're going to point at young men shooting across the street, as we should, and wonder who raised them.
You got a bazooka.
You got a bazooka.
You got
a
C4. You
got a flamethrower. That's a flamethrower. You're just burning the city down from what we can touch on it. So to your parents who raised you, right? So as we watch John doing this, everything is connected. He in 1996 introduces, co-authors the Business Improvement District legislation that Downtown Jackson Partners grew out of. He then begged Black leaders to put Farish Street in it. They all refused. And he laughed in their face. See, you could have had some of this good white money. He said it. I'm not. That's why the cease and desist aren't flowing in here. I'm just repeating what you said. And I can prove it was that good white money you were laughing about. And if Farish Street had gone into that with him, there would be no Farish Street for us to develop now. Oh, it would be developed, but it'll look like U Street in D.C. It won't be something you're welcome at.
There won't be no Farish Street Burger. There won't be no Johnny T's. There would not be no Methodist Church.
And the same South Jackson people, how about this, KP? The same South Jackson, the young ladies, I don't ever disrespect my elders, the younger elder ladies that came into there, and I don't believe they knew what they were talking about. I believe they were giving orders. And you can say the same about me. I would not get offended. They came in from South Jackson asking for Farish Street Burgers not to be given a permit to create the living room into something legal. I say, but listen, you got to talk to some people that have some intelligence, right? Because a lot of people feel like they have to coddle. Well, the living room, they're dancing in there. So, man, shut your mouth. Do you know what U Street looked like in D.C. and what these people are about to turn into? You think these white college students ain't about to be partying down there and doing a lot worse than what you see? Parking lot pimping is what you call it. You getting mad and the violence wasn't there. You lied. You getting mad, and I understand it. But you're getting bothered because these young people have nothing else to do. So Cheese TV videos an officer trying his best to relate to these young men out there to convince them that there's something else to do since there's nothing else to do. So he's really trying to lie to them and say, just chill and spin around in cars. What else can I tell you to do? I can't tell you to go to school. 17's been closed. I can't tell you to go to the gym. You done closed all those down. I can't tell you to go state or go start a food truck. The pavilions that would have serviced you were taken away by Horn. So all I can do is try to do a few little circles. It wasn't even no real donuts. They weren't even certified in respect to you, brother. I'm not saying that in a bad way. But you did a few circles. And this is what you do.
Cheese
but
TV,
white,
go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
Cheese told Cheese told y'all on his page, he said before the officer was participating in the donut circles, he was de-escalating the parking lot. He was making sure there wasn't no firearms being disarmed. He was making sure everybody was good. But y'all didn't see that part of the video. I guess y'all ain't go back and watch that part.
It's disgusting.
This is y'all, but y'all want to look at the part with him spinning. He made sure that there was nothing bad going on in the area before he even did donuts. I'm making sure y'all good before I participate in what y'all doing. It's just like if we was over there shooting hoops and he would have got his kind of started shooting hoops with us. We was over there boxing, you know what I'm saying? No, put the guns down. He probably would have came out the car boxing. Y'all can get mad at that too.
But Noble, the black police organization that Chief Brackney is a part of, can come into Jackson, go to a hotel, bring a select amount of young black men in. Most of them not the most at-risk black men. Most of them probably related to folks that want to be in that circle, and teach them how to interact with the police department. But a black police officer in Jackson does a few circles, and you stupid Negroes don't realize ain't nothing that you've complained about happened in that parking lot. They didn't go out on the street and endanger anybody. No shots were fired. Nobody was hurt. Nobody. So all the things you complain about in your community, you done brought two old ladies into the city council from South Jackson, this being controlled by the same entity that pushed LaShia Brown Thomas into office over Brother Alton. It was killing her during the Democratic primary. Up by 150 votes, which in a ward where the winner, LaShia, won with 1,200 votes. That's a big gap. So Alton's ahead by 100-something votes. The other 9 candidates drop out because they don't have a chance to make it. In the South Jackson Homeowners Association, a lot of those older folks in that, they start to sway the vote. So they sway to LaShia Thompson. The other brother done been known for community ordinance. His whole highlight, if you remember, was community building, bringing the children in it, interrupting the violence through community building, while LaShia's whole thing was police. I'm an ex-police. We're going to police this problem away. And because only 1,000 out of maybe 9,000 ward members voted, unfortunately, voted, only a few thousand voted, she was able to win with a little over 1,000 votes. And then the first thing that she does of any major is, don't this sound like John Horn from 93? He came in 93, and then he co-authors the Business Improvement District, one of the most hurtful bills to us, immediately in 96. Who raised you and who sent you? Charlie, you send us something. Friends of Mr. Charlie. How was he raised? We getting public with it because you're publicly hurting us. So LaShia throws it up, just like John threw that up and said, listen, that protection that would have stopped a lot of pain, the Water Authority, 35 gallons, all that, take that off the table. She's in it and she's ready. A police, she sit up there straight. I'm ready for whatever you bring to me. I'm taking from you. And then remember, everything relates back to John. His student team, what were y'all talking about in these houses? Were you doing anything for us, John? So you have a housing task force. How does this man, Robert, happen now after he came? What did he see on your housing task force, John? Why does anytime anyone comes into the city, when you invite them, they see how to take advantage of us? You invited Gabriel Prado in. He took over almost everything. You invited Surinder Singh in. He laughed at Charles Hawthorne and then took stage with you when you took the thing. You invited Kane Ditto in, downtown Jackson Partners, getting everything they could have wanted.
Father, my bad.
Mm-hmm. We think that's Benny's godfather. I mean, not Benny, excuse me, John Horn's godfather. By the way, he keep bringing him back. That's Uncle Ruckus. I love it. And why do we say that? You want to turn us off, turn it off. But if you want to listen to facts, John bought downtown Jackson Partner in when Charles Tisdale rest in peace, sued them. So anyways, getting back to the meeting, Kevin Parkinson told LaShia, whatever he told her, the last 5 meetings, LaShia said, I don't like it. Take the protection off the table. Kevin backed it. They said, well, LaShia, Tina spoke up and said, LaShia, what are you doing, sis? I'm not your sis. You ever see black people that say that? I'm not your brother. Black cops, as soon as some black cops. Now, they ain't all black cops. I got some that I love, and I got some that do the right thing all the time. How do you think we find out about things?
I've never heard that. That's crazy.
Yeah, so you got some black people, as soon as you say, hey, man, brother, chill. Man, I ain't your brother. They let you know right now they won't put hands on you and hurt you. You know what I mean? And so Tina Clay tried to say, hey, sis, I'm not saying words, but this was a feeling. Hey, sis, what are you doing? I mean, we can still stop the data centers from coming. Sis was like, you ain't heard KP? This is what LaShia said. You ain't heard KP tell you all's kinfolk ain't kinfolk? Obviously, they ain't listening to make it make sense. She looked to the right. Tina was looking right at her. She looked over for the shadow on the wall. Where's my friend George on the wall? Because Tina keep looking. I can feel her looking right at me.
She's looking at Ashby.
Yeah, she looking at Ashby like, Ashby, get her, kick a chair out or something. Y'all told me this was gonna be Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you didn't know what the coalition was. They made it a coalition. Those 4 today made it a coalition. So again, Tina speaks up, and of course, who backs her up? Kevin says something that doesn't even make sense. Well, we don't know about this being a zoning. We don't want to. I'm white and I smile and I talked. That's enough. I like you guys. So just believe I'm not hurting you, Virgie Lindsay style. Because now, Virgie, we see what you did in retrospect. So now you're a term. Don't let him do your Virgie Lindsay style. Smile in your face. That's her theme song, and she deserves it. Cindy Hyde come right at you. I want to see a good lynching. Like Malcolm said, I'll take the wolf with teeth. I said, yeah, front row. I want to see a good lynching front row. But not Virgie. Oh, you black fellas, Lumumba, I like you guys. And then here go Kevin Parkinson. Ted, you said they don't, Ted, we know they don't pay bills. I can appreciate what you're saying, Ted, but don't say the shit in front of them. Excuse my language, but it needs to be said. Don't say it in front of them, Ted. That's what Kevin Parkinson said. And anyone that don't believe, call your English professor at Tougaloo and ask you what it means when someone says, I can appreciate what you're saying. That means the root of what you're saying is true. Just don't say it like that. Girl, you're too fat for that dress. Oh, God. She is. But don't say that. Just say I don't think it was made for your body type.
Wolf with teeth.
Mm-hmm.
No
so
gums.
That's where we stand now. So they put it up for vote. Brian Grizzell said, no, of course I want to keep this on there. I asked for the protection. Tina Clay said, no, of course not. It's stupid. Why would I do that? It's stupid. Why would I lift protection so folks could come in and bring a data center into my city when Ridgeland is in this city hall? Oh, did we tell them that? Folks drove from, I think, South Haven, Mississippi, to tell the city council, this is coonery. Sometimes we label everybody a coon. I don't do the Uncle Tom because folks don't know the complexity of it. But we label somebody what used to be known as a backstabber or a coon. Now, no, Lashia and Vernon Hartley, that's coonery. When you got 5-2. So California, to answer your question, my good brother there, this is why we're losing. Yes, white supremacists launched the plan. They got the water authority sitting there. They pushed HB 1020. They took away our elected judges. They pushed a separate police department on us. They attacked and bled the city any way they could. But when they were waiting at the end to open the door to get into the room that had all the jewels, our lovely water system, plans coming in, they needed one of our own, and they got 3. John Horn, Lashia Brown Thomas, and Vernon Hartley. They already had Ward 1 and Ward 7. So in a city where your city council has a majority of 5 black people and 2 white people to answer California, Detroit, Louisiana, my brother with the apartment complex issues, because we're going to lift up your issue and you're going to tell folks right here in Louisiana. Well, Jackson had 5-2. Well, how did data centers get there? Lashia Brown Thomas. What? Vernon Hartley. But Vernon, now this is no, should we be surprised at Vernon, KP? Let's pause there. Should we be
I told y'all when he went to the meeting, he was gonna say he was gonna hype y'all up. I hear you calling, I hear you hurting. You don't hear nothing. You
and what did he do before that? Let's talk about his tracks. Remember what DeKeitha told him? What did DeKeitha tell him before? And then what did he do with it?
When he went on 90.1 and DeKeitha told him about the rate rate case.
The rate case, to file a rate case. But you have to wait until the rate increased to file. Mm-hmm. But still, when he told him about it, what did he do?
He said, no, I don't think we should do that.
And pulled his show down. He actually acted even worse. He was like, that's lawyer's talk. I don't know that. Pulled the show down. When someone came and asked about it, he kept the show down. When we, the young man and I, kept the attention on it, posted about it. Now he saw those posts being reshared. He knew people knew. He then came on with a weak follow-up. Well, I did send a letter to DeKeitha Stamps. Why would you need to send him a letter when he came on the show and told you what to do? What are you talking about? That's like someone saying, I went to the doctor, he told me to stop eating lard and stop eating bacon. So what'd you do about it? I sent him a letter to ask him what I should stop eating. Where's that little white girl with the little 4-year-old with that look to the side, that like crazy look on her face? Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking? So Vernon Hartley, and we'll pause, we'll move. DeKeitha Stamps came on and tell you to do the rate case you all just did. Young man, Jackson, y'all are moving things. I want you to pause and think, if this never happened, and make it make sense, is the 1,500 of you right there, and that's growing every moment. The 10,000 plus that listen everywhere, the part we don't know because folks be hiding stats from us, right? We did this. We made the price today different than the price yesterday. Why would Mayor Horn have started with all of these intentions? And why have they all had to come public? Because we pressured them. The community pressured Stokes. And things started opening up, and now that man ain't showed up in weeks. Y'all gonna keep picking on me, I'm not coming in. That's what's happening, because he's done it for years. Now Tina Clay, and she's standing up. Her and Grizel standing up, but they know now. When Tina abstained, we said it. Just so you know, abstaining is nothing but a nice way of agreeing. Tina made no mistake last time, no. Same way we point out one, we point out another. But we've got to point out that Mayor John Horn is at the center of everything that seems to be moving. And Vernon Hartley has got to be spoken to. Y'all have got to touch him and say to him, hey, Vernon, I'm talking spiritually, touch him and say, hey, brother Vernon, why are you giving away our city, man? Put the moratorium back. I don't know if anyone is around this sister, Lashia. If she goes around in the common people, you see her at Stamps Burgers, you see her somewhere, say, hey, sister, time out. What do you want me to do? Put it back. That's what I want you to do. As we go into this weekend, a young man and I are working on another quick documentary just to show you what happened with this vote and to show you how Lashia and Hartley teamed up with Vernon, with Foot and Parkinson, and together they took away your protection as a black city, majority black city, against data centers coming. As Gabriel Prado, John Horn's entrepreneurial little study, stands poised to put a data center somewhere, and the only thing that we can think of is this Jackson. John Horn's housing task person, Robert Ireland, jumps in and said he's representing somebody that's putting a data center in. He can't tell you who, but there's millions invested. The young man and I get several contacts from black businessmen here in Jackson begging us or asking us, can we stop talking about Gabriel Prado and the data centers? And when that happens, Lashia Thomas Brown and Vernon Hartley step in and say, we'll do it, boss. What's the matter, boss? We sick? Lashia, do better now. Vernon, do better now, because you're too old to do this. Now, we done seen some Facebook comments about you making other bad decisions. We're never going to touch on that, but you better make a better one now. And Jackson, you better make sure this is an uncomfortable weekend for them unless they do. Any last words, young man?
Cat got my tongue.
Coon
got my tongue.
Listen, make it heavy for them and make it light for yourselves and your ancestors and your future. We love you, Jackson. We'll be right back Monday, 90.1 at 4 p.m., Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then back here, We Believe Digital, Thursdays and Fridays at 5:30. We love you, Jackson. We out.